Hello.
Whoa, wow, June's there. She's ready.
June is right there.
She
All
did hi
righty.
right when we started. Hi, June.
Yes, right there is June. And here we are with Philip and the love of family life. And there's June. Hi, June. And there's Scott. Hi, Scott. We're right now listening. Good. That's what probably
Right.
ought to happen because this is Master Philip talking about the love and family life, continuing where we left off here.
Well, glad they're joining us at work.
Yeah. Oops.
Oops. What'd you oops already? What happened? That is
Uh,
an oops. I don't know. That's on my end. I read the text. I don't know if people can see that, but the text is like a
I
ghost. It's like something coming out of a genie bottle or something there, Swami J.
I accidentally. Whoops. That was an oops. I accidentally killed the file.
Oh no. Hi, Ronka. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hi,
Our director's having technical difficulties. We're gonna have to cut his paycheck.
hi, Alanka. All righty.
Ma's here.
Ma Tree is here. Uh-huh. Well, what a treat that is, huh?
Well, Swami J,
Well,
before we jump into the actual text, I mean, you and I were just talking. I was relaying to you that this past week I went back down to visit my family, my mom and dad, and immediate family because there was a funeral. My great uncle had passed away, and I went down to attend the ceremony and be with family. And I just thought it might be, every time I visit family and I'm around them, especially, my parents, I mean, two things really always stand out to me. I thought that's where we kind of start the conversation, Swami Jay. One of them is that how nice it is to have immediate family, especially in times of need. In this particular case, my dad was very close with my great uncle. He was like a brother to my dad, and there was an opportunity to go down there and really be of service and to support and be there because it was really tough for my dad, and I just realized how important it is, how nice it is to have that type of support structure from either your blood family, so to speak, or the family that you might have in, say, something like the supporters of the ashram and the close knit family that we have here. So
mm-hmm.
I don't know that I have much of a reflection on it. It's just something that always stands out to me as we talk about the importance of love and family.
So you are knowing it was a good thing for everybody for you to be visiting in that kind of way.
Me visiting, but also, I mean, others like, us in particular, my mom played a really strong role in helping to support in his times of need, going out of her way to make sure my dad had whatever he needed and was really helping. And
Yeah.
it was nice. It's nice to see that. And this is where you talk about, I think when you have these extreme cases where there's a death in the family, it makes it a little easier to see. It makes
Mm-hmm.
it an easier opportunity to see that you could be there to support others, but it does show the importance of experimenting, as we've been talking about, with this love and family life and learning how to love and expand to others.
Yeah.
And I moved him so much that he had to leave on that. Hi, hello, hi, Maja, I think. I don't know that. Welcome, everybody. Yeah. Ma, when he gets back, I'll be able to see your quote a little bit more, but
Oh, they're seeing you.
oh, they're just seeing me. Okay.
They're seeing you and your full everything.
Full everything. But I just think that as we talk about that, just kind of going back and grounding it into practical. Yeah. Yeah. All the difference in family, the connection is strong. That's right. What is my Twitter handle, Philip, and where can I follow you? I'll post that a little later. I'm not very active on Twitter. I'm more active on Facebook. Although in my line of work, I probably should be a little more active on Twitter. I'm more of a watcher on Twitter than I am an actual tweeter. Only in extreme cases. But I'll post that up here a little bit later. Thanks for the question. And then the second one that I had, Swami J, too, we're talking about love and family life, was not only we've been talking about the expansion in love and family life, but also every time I go back, and especially when I'm around my family, I realize all the habit patterns of who I think I are, who I think that I am, not are, I am, are very clear, that a lot of them have been given to me in just learned behaviors over the years as I watch my parents and positive habits that they've given me and negative habits they've given me. It's always a really interesting observation when you go back and you see firsthand that being reflected back at you.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple things too. It's been a good week for family reflection, love, and family life, and just wanted to start those out with a couple things to share with you guys before we dove into the text. Anything you got to add? You want to add some, Papa Jay?
No, I'm just listening to you talk. It's I know it was quite a visit for you to visit with family in the context of nothing much stronger. It's times of birth and times of death that seem to be most drawing of family.
Yeah.
So,
reminds me of one of my favorite Swami Rama quotes, and I know that I'm paraphrasing here, but he talks about life being a journey. If you come from some place and you go to some place, then you must be on a journey.
it must be called a journey. Yeah,
it must be called a journey. It's really when you see it, when you actually see it, you see, in this case, the ashes sitting on the fireplace. It brings it home, and it does remind you that you are on a journey. And what else do you have to do but learn how to love?
And here we are.
And here we are. This is it.
And here we are today live with the one and only Philip.
I don't know about the one and only. I don't know that that's in my contract for you to say, Swami J, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, you know what to do. So you tell me when you're ready to go.
Yeah, no, let's jump back into the text. I just wanted to share that reflection before we got things started, but let's jump into the text.
Okay, so we continue.
I think I want to remind going through love and family life, and I just before we started the text, the thing that really separates this book in particular is that it's going to hot chocolate time. That's right. This book is around not only love and family life, but love and family life and going towards a question mark and going towards self-realization and awareness. That's the context of what we're having this conversation in. It's not just love and family life in particular, but how love and family life are a means to an end, or how family life is a means to an end to love and to getting to the self-awareness and to the question mark. It's a process of expansion as opposed to the contraction that we've talked about to the self. So just wanted to start that out, and I think there's opportunities for us to elaborate on that as we go, right, Swami J?
Okie dokie. All right, well, I've got the text up in sort of full.
All right, here we go. I know a man whose wife divorced him because he was impotent. On the physical level, there was nothing wrong with him, but there were many problems in the relationship. A person may become impotent or averse to intimacy in one circumstance, but not in others. An interest in sexual intimacy depends on the person's emotions and attractions or aversions. If a man is lost interest in his wife and has become cold, he may become impotent. The same principle applies to a woman if she does not feel emotionally open to being sexual. Many cases of impotence or sexual difficulty are due to internal emotional distress or conflict in the relationship rather than physical problems. When we have an aim or purpose in life, we can bring our emotional life under control. But no one besides ourselves can help us become aware of our purpose in life. We must discover it directly. Priests or ministers can suggest that we become aware of God, and if a person believes there is some higher force that will help them, these words may provide solace when a person feels helpless. But words of solace are not the same as having a direct experience. Boy, that's a powerful phrase right there. Words of solace are not the same as having a direct experience. To provide real solace and comfort, people need to experience undeserved peace and happiness from within. So it's not just understanding, but it's the knowing that we go back to, the experiential knowledge that comes to practice, 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 and that is more comforting than just mere word. We all want to experience a state of freedom from pain and miseries. Unfortunately, instead of relying upon our inner resources, we often rely upon sources outside ourselves and stop making our own sincere personal efforts. We forget that God helps those who help themselves. As a result, we fail to realize our potential and do not make progress. When we become aware of our innate divine nature, we can attain a state of freedom from all fears, pains, and miseries. We can realize that happiness within ourselves and eventually learn to share that happiness with others. Yeah, I love that this is being put into words here. Yeah, it's a really beautiful. Swami Rama has just such an eloquent way and just a very succinct and powerful way of saying these things. But I like what he says here. When we realize within ourselves, when we can realize that happiness within ourselves, and then we eventually learn to share that happiness with others. And just to pause here, this is the theme that we're talking about. It's about first starting very small and learning how to share that happiness and realize that happiness is within, and expanding. And that's why the family life, as we've been saying over and over again, is kind of a playground for this. How do you want to love and serve all of humanity and be of service to all of humanity? Well, that's a pretty big chunk to start with for most people. But you start with the simple ask of the person that's in front of you. Who can you serve that's immediate and that's there? It's starting with that playground, learning how to do that and allowing that to expand. You were going to say something, Swami Jay. I interrupted you.
No, you did not. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, I agree too. I think that's Sid, right? I really, these words are just really, really profound and beautiful. All of this book really speaks to me. Thank you. When we study the lives of great men and women, we notice that one thing they have in common is the apparent experience of suffering. What these great ones experience would be suffering for most people, but to them, it is a joy. To us, it seems that Jesus suffered a great deal in his brief life, but actually, he chose his life. And for him, it was not a life of suffering, but one of purpose. We common people might call it suffering because our mind's capacity to understand is limited by our own selfishness. To us, the great people of the world seem to have suffered because our narrow vision and understanding can only perceive it as such. That one, I really like that paragraph, Swami Jay. I'm trying to think. I don't know that really anything comes to mind except when I read it, it just really resonated inside. I mean,
what about it captivates you?
Well, I think it's it's having a life of purpose. I mean, I think that's what they said. I mean, and I've always reflected on this. I mean, Jesus didn't happen into these types of things. Other great sages and spiritual leaders don't happen into these things. They understand what they're getting into, and they chose that path, and it is one of service and one of beautiful service.
There seems to be something to it, doesn't it, of having some sense of personal purpose. What's important in life.
With the extreme consequence of even losing one's life. I mean, I don't know how many people are willing to put that type of service on the line, and it speaks to the depth of their commitment and understanding of these principles.
Indeed.
If a person is really intent on expanding his or her mind, then it is necessary to let go of the narrow boundaries and mental constraints that have been developed. For example, many people have acquired the constraint of thinking that they can only be happy within certain conditions or limitations. But happiness cannot be achieved by setting conditions or building boundaries. Happiness means expansion, and expansion means love. Love includes a willingness to serve. A person who truly loves serves others selflessly. In loving, we expand ourselves and become aware of the reality that just as we exist, others also exist. Then as we grow and become more sensitive, we ask ourselves why we are cruel and how we can become more loving. We need and want love from others. We can learn to love them as well. I know one who would do that. Thinking about that shakes my heart deeply. Absolutely. I agree. I know the person of whom you speak about. There's Mom. Swami Jay, I do think that in talking about this love and expansion, this paragraph, it would be helpful. I know we didn't have it queued up, but could we take a moment to bring back up the circle chart just so we can make sure people are following and tracking what's being said here? I think that visually is really helpful.
All righty. I'll work on it for you.
I'll just see here. I'll just finish out this paragraph while you're doing that, if I can. When people, so I started. We need and want love from others. Can we learn to love them as well? When people begin to contemplate how they, I just heard. Now we have the echo back, so I don't know what happened. Something just changed.
Huh.
When people begin to contemplate how they can become more loving, then their homes will become centers of love, places that radiate love to others. It can never work to have only material goals in a marriage, such as having a winter home in Miami or having 2 cars, and that'll be the cliffhanger until we get the circle chart up. But yeah, I'm hearing that feedback. It just started. And I think as we bring, as Swami J is bringing that up, what we've been doing here is going back to the circle diagram to make sure that people are clearly understanding what's being said here. And what you'll see is there's really 2 ways on the circle chart that are happening. It's, if you remember, it's going back to the question mark over here. It's our goal, the goal and the purpose of life for most of us that are talking about this is the question mark. It's self-realization.
There you go. There it is. It's up there.
There it is. You see, it's the one who lives in the 3 cities. That's
I just grabbed one.
Right. And then as you move out, there's 2 there to kind of simplify this. The way that my mind holds this, and Swami Rama keeps going on this principle. On that goal, there's really only, to simplify this, there's only 2 ways you can go. You can contract towards the body, come inward. I mean, come outward towards the body and contract around your things, my house, my car, my wife, my this, my that, my everything that you want. Or the other way is you go from the body to the question mark, where you go inwards and the expansion occurs. And so what we're trying to do in family life is learn how to stop. I think we don't need to learn how to contract. We all kind of have been taught that throughout our life, contracting. What we're trying to learn in family life is that expansion back to the question mark. And the way that you do that is you begin to love and serve others. And you start with loving and serving maybe the person you're in a relationship with. You begin to learn that, hey, wait a minute, outside of my selfish needs, there's something a little bit bigger. I have to begin to think about this other person in my daily life. Then perhaps you, I don't know, get a dog, have kids.
Yeah, there it is.
Begin to expand to others. It's this expansion process where you expand to others and you begin to learn that expansion, and then it grows. And what it does is it begins to learn. You begin to learn, and hopefully a very safe playground in the family unit of how to expand back to that question mark. I give the example, of when I first met my wife, Candy, and how that process really was the first time in my life, seriously, where I had to expand and grow and consider somebody else's needs in this life. It was a process of breaking this bind to the body and my selfish wants and needs and desires. And certainly that stuff is still wrapped in there. It did not go away, but it began to break that and to expand. And then, as I've said many times before, is that when I first saw my first daughter, Eva, it was the first time that I experientially had this unconditional love. I remember sitting there watching her, and I still say, I don't know what this little thing is, but I love it, and it was just unconditional acceptance. It was the first time I've ever experienced that expansion. And then with my second daughter, Parker, I thought that love had limits and boundaries, but then I saw with my second daughter that it didn't. It could grow without bounds. And so it's this process of expansion in the circle chart, going from the body back down to the question mark that we're talking about here. And what's so important is Love and Family Life book. And so just wanted to pause to make sure people were tracking that.
All righty.
Yeah. When he's talking.
Okay, let me take that out here and put the text back in for you, okay?
Yeah, thanks for going to that.
No, there you go. Okay.
So here it is right here. I mean, just going right back to it. I'm going to go back to this paragraph. In loving, we expand ourselves and become aware of the reality that just as we exist, others also exist. Then as we grow and become more sensitive, we ask ourselves why we are cruel and how we can become more loving. I've always felt that contraction helps your ego, which is useful for circumstances in external living, but not when it comes to love. It does contract your ego. I don't know that help is the right word on that one. I think that it shows that ego. You have to have the my house or my car or my wife. You have to have that certain feeling, that oomph of miness, right? Of I-ness. This is mine. I, me. This is it. Help might be the word that I choose on that one. And it is useful for living in external. It is right. You're right. It is useful for living in external living because you have to drive.
Maybe the spirit of it that you're both talking about is that when we develop dedication or persistence or perseverance at the level of personality, that power that comes from within in terms of the four functions of mind, of manas, chitta, ahamkara, and buddhi, that power that comes from within at that antakarana personality level is ego. It's just that it's being directed in a way to make something happen. So if you're being a good parent and you're doing good things for the family, or you're in a career field that you believe in, that you're passionately doing something for the betterment of something else, and it requires you to step forward with energy in terms of personality basis, that is ego.
Yeah.
But it's not egotism.
Right. It serves the higher purpose.
Yeah.
Like we've always talked about, we were just giving the example of Jesus and other sages. I mean, they weren't wimps. There was no, oh, pardon me type thing. There was a strong oomph behind it. There was this ego, this driving presence over there. So
indeed.
Good point. Thanks for making that, and thanks for posing that question, Sid. We need and want love from others. Can we learn to love them as well? When people begin to contemplate how they can become more loving, then their homes will become centers of love, places that radiate love to others. It can never work to have only material goals in a marriage, such as having a winter home in Miami or having 2 cars or a good bank balance. Thinking in that manner can never help to keep a marriage together over the many years and challenges of life. If you're curious about the quality of someone's family life, you can do an experiment. Ask that person what his or her attitude is as they come home from work at the end of the day. When someone smiles naturally in response to this question, then I know that this person's home life is happy. Sorry, I just paused I paused because I smiled when I was reading that question. There is at least one place where they enjoy peace and harmony.
Why do you smile over that?
What's that?
Why do you smile over that?
Oh, because I do enjoy. I was thinking I really enjoy coming home. It's just, no matter how hard of a day that I have, or especially in my field of work and the environment right now, it's been very challenging, and the world can be very challenging. It is really nice to go back, kind of the point I was trying to make earlier about my dad's funeral. It really is nice to have a place where you can go back and have this love and to recharge, regroup.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why.
So you live this smile going home at the end of the day.
I do, and right now, I mean, I want to be mindful that others might not have this, so I'm not trying to rub it in, but I'm just making a point here.
You all have worked very hard to have this life.
Yes, that's right. You have worked very hard to have this life, and it's been about through awareness and practicing this. It has not always been that way, but it is at this moment. And it continues to get better the more that these principles are applied.
There you go. All righty. Carry on.
There is at least one place where they enjoy peace and harmony. If a husband is greeted lovingly and comforted when he returns home, he experiences happiness and pleasure at being home. Children who have loving homes are happy to return to their parents after school. Those who have such loving homes always look forward to returning home. When they go to their offices, they think pleasantly about returning to their spouses and children. But those whose homes are disturbed and unpleasant think of going to bars or other places of escape. Such a person thinks at 5 o'clock, I will go to a bar for a drink. What a wretched life I have at home. I wish I could meet someone else. Thus, 2 people of a similar dissatisfied frame of mind will often meet. Both are disturbed, and as they share the disturbance, they become even unhappier. If a person is miserable, what he or she shares with another miserable person is never happiness. I pause here. I mean, I think maybe the guidance in this one, Swami Jay, if there is any, is just, and it may sound obvious, but if you find yourself in this type of situation, this is a part of the self-awareness to really, think a little bit more. I mean, obviously there are some issues that are going on, and it's an opportunity for you to pause and see what adjustments might be made, or at least reflect on the impact this has in your pursuit of the question mark. I think it's at least worth that.
And then you can adjust.
And then you could adjust accordingly. I think that's what it's saying here. If you do find yourself not wanting to go home, or you do see others not wanting to return to the house, I just think it's an opportunity to check in.
Were you always a natural at that, Philip, or did it take some time to evolve that?
Oh, no, I was not a natural at that at all. It does take time, and it takes practice. And there are many times where you aren't you're not good at it. And even in my life, I mean, sometimes it even ebbs and flows a little bit. It really is an opportunity to really check when you're getting off track a little bit, and to bring it back, or to find the time to recharge or get centered again. I mean, you're not perfect at these things. You just keep going at it. And what I'm trying to point out here is these are just opportunities where the external environment might reflect what's happening internally, and for you to go back and reflect on what's happening with it.
Yeah, but you keep persistent at it.
Just keep persistent and be easy with yourself. You don't have to have, I don't think you need to feel like you have to have birds chirping at the windows and, 100% of the time, the red carpet rolled out for you under these things. It's just, you just keep persisting as best you can. Once, many years ago, I was visiting East Africa and was invited to stay in the guest home of an Indian businessman who was very successful and controlled cashew commodities around the world. Now, that's important commodity to control. The cashew commodity is
there you go.
Very powerful man. I said to the couple, "God bless you. You both seem to be happy." But as I said this, I noticed that his wife saddened. That was actually my way of finding out whether or not they were truly happy, by simply making the statement. I learned from the expression on their faces whether or not it was true. At dinner that evening, the table was full of tasty dishes, but I couldn't relish the food, for I didn't sense any aliveness or joy in the house. And yet the wife was a beautiful woman with gracious manners. In her presence, her husband said to me, "She is called Grihalakshmi," meaning the goddess of the home. Sorry for my poor pronunciation there. Later, I said to her privately, "Your husband respects and appreciates you very much." But she laughed bitterly and said with disgust, "You have come here as a Swami, so it is your duty to tell my husband not to be a hypocrite in what he says, but to treat his wife honestly and sincerely. Ask him where and with whom he spends his time. Please do that for me." When I spoke to him, the husband said, "My wife is beautiful, my house has all the latest conveniences, but I am not happy here. Do you know what she does to me? She nags me so much that I don't ever want to come home." When a woman becomes lonely and feels neglected, she may project her unhappy feelings onto a man, making accusing and critical statements. But she often does not mean everything she says. The husband arrives home tired from the day's work, and when he hears these negative things, he says to himself, "I'll just come home late and go to sleep, then get up early in the morning and leave for work." In this home, there were two people living together pretending to be a happily married couple, but they were not truly married. Nagging and hypocrisy don't create a loving life with anyone. I guess that's a pretty true statement, huh? Nagging and hypocrisy do not equal love. All right. Wisdom of the sages. Another time, many years ago, I encountered a situation in rural India that was the opposite of what I have just described, but it was an equally poor relationship. In traditional Indian culture, there is a custom of touching the feet of someone we respect and revere, such as our parents. There was a wife who used to touch her husband's feet 10 times a day, and that man became very inflated with pride because he actually had a weak, inadequate personality. Outside his home, nobody respected him at all, so he sought to receive such gestures of respect from his wife. I asked him, "Are you really comfortable when your wife bows before you and touches your feet? Do you need her to do that for you?" He replied, "Of course, a woman should always show respect for her husband." I replied, "But I don't think you yourself are a truly happy or contented person, or you would not behave in this way. Then he told me,
I have a very important question, Philip. When you come home from work, does your wife bow down and touch your feet?
No.
No?
No. That's part of my self-awareness here? Should I be demanding this? Would you put the candy that she needs to bow down and touch my feet? I don't think so.
I don't think I have the courage to tell her that. Do you?
I don't either. I don't either. So that's we'll leave it at that. I do get a hey, how's your day type of thing. I mean, I'll take that. That's good.
Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All you got to do is add in that feet touching thing.
I'll work on it, and maybe there's some guidance, towards the later chapters of how to work on it. That way.
I don't think you're going to work on that. Don't tell me you're going to work on that. You don't have any more courage than I do. What?
I'm hoping there's some profound guidance in here that can steer it that way. Maybe. What do you think?
I see. Okay, maybe Sid knows. Maybe
I don't know. If anybody does speak,
how to get Andy to touch his feet when he comes home from work.
Yeah.
Good luck, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna have about as much luck with that as you would probably have with us bowing down and kissing your feet when you come in. I don't.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll both try to work on that. I think
they're probably going to both happen about the same schedule.
Yes. And Sid, I think we both.
Anyway, I just couldn't resist the opportunity to pause there and ask you that question.
No, it's a good one, and one I'll hear about later as Candy watches this. And I think I saw Sid's comments flash. I think we both agree that men are not superior on this one. Why not heed her feet? I know, Ma. That's exactly what she would say, and I think there's probably more likelihood that would occur than her, bowing to mine.
Yeah, in other words, this whole thing could backfire on you.
It totally could. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
And I know we're being playful here, but the one thing that I thought was really relevant in this particular dialogue is that he notices the behavior of his wife, but points out that the reason why this is off is because of the inner behavior of the husband, how he's not relating to himself well, and how that's projecting into his relationships with others. He doesn't in this case, he doesn't have the respect for himself or awareness of himself, and that's being projected to others. So I really like that. What's this Ma saying about touching each other's heart? I think the touching of the heart might be better than the touching of the feet. Yeah. Maybe that's a good way for me to get out of this thing. Yes, that's good one, Ma. You both touch each other's heart instead of the feet. I think that's much better than touching the feet. It's touching the heart. Thank you, Ma, for giving me that out, and I'd rather do that. Is that okay with you, Swami Jay?
Sure. Well, it reminds you. I know what she's thinking of. She's remembering this story that I told. That the last time that I saw Swami Rama in the body, I had run into a comment somewhere about a week before that in some writing somewhere that he said, everybody wants to touch my feet. Nobody wants to touch my heart. And idea went through my mind. And then the next time I saw him, it turned out was to be the last time. And I of course did not know that. And he was sitting in one of those sort of European style, sort of winged back chairs, one of those nice living room chairs with the sort of wing things here. He was sitting there, and I came in to see him, and I did not bow, but he was sitting in this chair, so I sort of kneeled down, and I had said to myself, next time I see him, I never was a foot toucher. I never was a foot toucher. He didn't like that, and so it didn't match my cultural upbringing. So this time I kneeled down and I reached my hand up like this, and I put my hand on his heart. It's what I said to myself. Next time I see him, I'm going to do that. and I put my hand on his chest here, on his heart. And he reached his arm up over the back of my head, and he pulled my head down onto his chest, and he kissed me on the top of my head there. And so that's maybe what Matri was remembering.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Touched the heart. It was a pretty nice moment. So
that is a nice moment. Thank you for sharing that.
Anyway.
Well, it comes to mind when you're saying that, and what Ma's, her comments make me reflect. I mean, what is it that you want to cultivate in a relationship?
Yeah.
This custom of somebody appearing to be of service to you by bowing to your feet and kissing your feet, and possibly having hurt feelings about that, or somebody that's going to be there for you when you need it. That actually.
Now, I have tried to train Matri in this too as well. It's happened a few times. We would be in India together, and there would be some Swami there, and here would become some person dashing, scurrying over to bow down and touch the feet. And I would say, Ma, see that? Learn from that.
Yeah.
And make sure that when we go back, you teach everybody how to do that. And she never would do it. The only thing I got out of her was laughter.
That's exactly what Candy would say to me if I asked her to do those things. Yes.
Yeah, well, good luck. You said you were going to give it a try. I look forward to seeing the outcome of that.
What I said was, I'm hoping there's wisdom in here that's going to reveal how to do that over there. But playfully speaking, I actually don't.
Maybe so. We can hope for the best. So, all righty. So you ready here? Carry on.
Yeah. I replied, but I don't think you yourself are a truly happy or contented person, or you would not behave in this way. There it is right there. I mean, that's what I was saying, is that Swami Rama just says, you're not relating well to yourself, and this is why this is happening.
You're not contented.
I replied, but I don't think you yourself. Oh, I already said. Then he told me, my wife is not my equal because she is a simple, uneducated person. She's illiterate and she doesn't know anything. She isn't very intelligent. When I heard this, I was very disappointed, became angry with his egotism. Now, this is egotism in the wrong way that you were talking about.
That's exactly
an example
right.
Earlier of using the ego in a productive way. This is the ego in a very unproductive way.
One is strength, and this is very, very much weakness.
Yes. I replied, you fool, your ego and arrogance are the problem. Your wife has emotions and a heart just like yours. You should have respect for her as a person. Your wife has emotions and a heart just like yours. To have a happy marriage, it isn't necessary for both people to be intellectuals. Marital happiness has nothing to do with the mind. Actually, even if both partners were brilliant, they might simply fight and argue exactly the way people do in the legislatures. Everyone knows what happens in legislative debates. Two intellectuals discuss a situation for several years and they never succeed in passing a bill or reaching a conclusion. See, even Swami Rama has a negative view of our governmental processes.
Well, he's not talking about he's talking about all of them, because he's
talking about all of them. Yes. If two intellectuals in a marriage go on debating and arguing about how they want to build a house, the house will never be complete, and it will never become a home. Marriage does not require that type of companionship. The quality of the relationship between a husband and a wife depends on their love and commitment, not on the degrees that they have received from the university. What a woman can give to a man can never attain any other way. And what a man can give to a woman, she cannot attain elsewhere. If both partners understand the potential of that relationship, then a man and woman can live together skillfully and happily for all the years of their marriage. And I guess in our day and age, that it doesn't have to necessarily be a man and a woman. It's just people can live together.
Principle is there.
The principle is the same. When people consider marriage, they should ask themselves as individuals, can I live with this person happily? Can I make him or her happy? And I think the first one comes a little more naturally. Can I live with this person happily, Mike? But I think the other one, the second part, the can I make him or her happy, is not often asked. Unfortunately, we often ask, can he or she make me happy, which is the wrong way to think. The question itself is selfish. If you ask, do you love me? It means I'm not able to love you. I'm a very selfish person, but I expect love from you.
There you go. Maybe you can try that line on Candy to get her to touch your feet.
Well, you know what? I might as well get it all out at once, because if I'm going to go that way, it's going to be bad anyway. So might as well just get it all out at once. So good counsel there, Swami J.
They're happy to help.
I thought this was supposed to be helping me. I feel like this is going the opposite way. I'm going to be set up for some really tough afternoon.
Give it your best shot and see where it goes.
All right.
This is
good. I think this is a group effort. I think all watching should help join, and we can all report back next week how this goes.
This is happening this afternoon, huh?
I think it's so. Why wait? You know, you gotta be attentive to these things immediately. Why wait?
Give it your best shot.
Yes. Married life is a commitment that must be made with one's full heart and mind. The commitment must be made from the depth of one's being rather than taken lightly. If you undertake marriage lightly or without sincerity, it will never succeed. And when marriage fails to become centers of love, the whole society becomes disturbed. If marriage fails to create love, society disintegrates and returns to violent and primitive levels. Then there is no harmony or peace. When individual marriages become centers of love, they produce love that radiates to others. The members of such families have the capacity to love and serve others, and thereby help to transform the entire society.
There you go.
I love that paragraph. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Learning it and then being able to radiate it. And then what he poses there is perhaps that's one of the downfalls of our society right there, is that we're not actually learning how to do this in our family life, that love isn't being radiated from our family life and is having an impact on society, which I quite
There you go. All righty.
Well, that was chapter 1 down. Oh, wow. Developing spirit.
Chapter 1 down.
That is,
There you go, Philip. This is the cliffhanger. I'm thinking probably you want to stop here. We can go on if you want. Probably a good place to pause for the day and pick up on this next time, huh?
I agree, Swami J. We
Chapter 2, Developing Spiritual Intimacy.
Wow.
There you go.
It's a veritable cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger, all righty, huh?
So for all of those, stay tuned. We'll do this the same time next week, right? Yeah. Same bad time, same bad channel, but you didn't get that pop culture reference last time.
There you go. Don't. Thank you, Philip.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for everybody that's watching, and thank you, Swami J, for playing. This is fun.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game. And give me some feedback later. Let me know how this afternoon goes with this new plan that you're working out at home.
Well, I think what you'll see next week, it'll be very evident. I'll have what'll be like a black eye or some sort of laceration or something as I do that. I don't know. Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thanks for joining. Hope work's going well. Yeah, so I'll do that, and then you let me know. You know when Ma's gonna bow down to your feet too on that one. Let me know. We'll keep each other posted.
We'll keep working on it. Love and family.
Love and family life. Thanks everybody for playing. I enjoyed it. And then if you have any other questions, as we said, feel free to post them down there in the comments section. We're happy to bring them back up, or any suggestions or any particular subject you want to dive into. Let us know and give us some feedback down there. Aranka just says nothing. She's blank. This is the pause. This is the space we're looking for, the clarity. There's no words. She ceased words over here by listening to what we said, Swami J. We've done our job. She's found true love. I lost you. I can't hear you or see you. Is it just me up here talking?
Oops, accidentally I pushed the wrong button. The thing from Aranka is not nothing. It is a little heart symbol.
Oh, I didn't. On the screen that you're saying, it just shows blank. I don't see anything.
No, on mine, it shows a little heart.
Well, from the transmission from your place to mine, the heart has been removed over there, so it's taken.
Yeah, but now after that nasty comment you said about Aranka saying nothing, look what she says back to you.
There we go. It was a compliment that Aranka has reached.
But get ready for that ha 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 ha, because you're probably going to run into that this afternoon.
Yes, that's true. Glasses, Philip. That's right. Maybe I need them. I don't know. Does anybody else see that heart on there? I didn't see it up there. But maybe I do need glasses, Aranka. That's probably.
Yes, you can get this through Amazon is the easiest way to get this book. And if you look at the link, that's the very top of the Ashram Satsang group, what we're looking at right now, and open that up, you'll find a link to a page on the Ashram website where all you have to do is scroll down, look at the title of the book, click on it, and it will take you directly to Amazon for this book. Yeah. And you can buy it. I don't know if this book is available on Kindle or not, but it's definitely available.
It's been a while since I've looked at it, but I've never had a problem getting a pretty cheap copy on Amazon.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
So, bye-bye.
Okay, Swami, until next time.
Thank you, Philip.
I feel like we need a sign off. Everybody wants to make suggestions for. We need a sign off to close this thing off, but maybe bye is enough. So.
Well, all right. It's your sign off time. Say anything you want.
I don't know. I got to give it some thought. I just can't just blurt this out. But
you don't have time for thinking. You got to respond kind of like right now because it's time to go.
So long.
That's it. Nothing profound like love all and exclude none.
Yeah, love all and exclude none, especially your family.
There you go. Philip has the last word. A combination of Philip and Aranka. Let's give Aranka another last word here.
She says ha 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 ha.
There you go. That's for you, Philip.
All right. Thanks, Aranka.
Okay. Thank you all for playing. Thanks, Philip.